have a bachelor's and master's of science in psychology, and then I have a PhD in communication sciences and disorders and language science.
So currently I'm a third year medical student. I'm really passionate about neuroscience, as you can tell from my background and the brain.
So I went to medical school, and in the middle of medical school did a PhD as well. I did my PhD in the genetics of traits like body mass index and height. And after medical school, I realized I got really interested in neurology and decided to come to Penn for a neurology residency. I'm currently in my last year of neurology residency, about to finish in the next 2 months. And I've kind of shifted focus now to focus on dementias and neurodegenerative conditions and really trying to understand the biological basis of those.
I've actually been involved with the Penn Memory Center since I was a graduate student. So I did my PhD in clinical psychology at Temple, and I was fortunate enough to do a clinical practicum for a year at the Penn Memory Center, working with Don Mechanic-Hamilton, who's been a sort of official and unofficial mentor of mine for a few years now. And I think I was really sort of in awe as a student of how the center functioned, and really loved being a part of that group. And in fact, wound up sticking around for an extra year just to run support groups with patients. So then I finished up my training, and when I had an opportunity to come back and work at the FTD Center, which is, adjacent to the Memory Center and very, very similar, I really jumped at the chance because I knew what a good environment it had been when I trained here, and I knew what great work people were doing, and that they had a system that seemed to actually work.
There's a disorder called logopenic primary progressive aphasia that individuals with Alzheimer's disease get secondary to Alzheimer's disease. And it's essentially this disorder that has a very debilitating breakdown of language functions. And so my desire is to, try to kind of help ameliorate that aspect of, their disease.
So we're still finalizing my project, but Dr. Hamilton's lab studies transcranial magnetic stimulation and its application to aphasia. So I think I'll be doing some work related to that.
So I'm working in a lab in the genetics department here at Penn, and with Dr. Jennifer Phillips-Cremens, and I'm analyzing in pluripotent stem cell derived neurons. So basically taking stem cells from patients, differentiating them into neurons, and putting in mutations that can cause Alzheimer's disease, understanding how that affects levels of different genes in the neurons, trying to understand which ones might be actually driving some of the pathology that we see in patients.
What I am trying to do here at the FTD Center, with the help from the Memory Center, is to design ways that we can use digital technologies, things like smartwatches, smartphones, sensors in the house, to try to tell us more information about our patients and their families in a way that's simple and doesn't interfere with their everyday life, and doesn't require that rely totally on the family members to tell us what's going on.
I'm hoping that at least the work we do can give us a better understanding, and then from there we can, help improve patients' lives.
A big motivation for me to do this program again was just that over time I found myself getting more passionate specifically about Alzheimer's disease.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first worked at Penn Memory Center, I knew I was interested in neuroscience, but I didn't know sort of where within that realm I went to work. And so I've gotten really interested in Alzheimer's disease just because of sort of has a health equity component, disproportionately affects minority populations. It's also an interdisciplinary disease that requires knowledge in many different fields. And so I'm most excited about being able to be back at Center here.
The most fun part of research is putting your head together with a like-minded group of people who are also really focused on aging and dementia, and making sure that we're conducting high quality, clinically relevant research. So I think it's really exciting to have the opportunity to pick the brains of people like Jason Karlowich and Dave Wolk and Roy Hamilton, and just incredible researchers in the field. So I feel super fortunate to be able to even have their ear and get their thoughts on what I'm doing.